This is part 12 of this complete front-end development course that we are working on, and in this part of the video we are going to build some of the foundational components that will be used throughout all of the components that we will build in the future. Okay, so let's get into it. Come to packages, core, src, components. Let's create a new component called box component. Okay, and just before that, in the last video we did this container component. Okay, and we also wrote a test for this, but I wrote all the tests that is needed for this container component. In the last video we only wrote 3 tests just to test for the unique behavior of this container component, but all the other tests, for example the props and all the global styles, I already have it in the spec file. Make sure you do too. If you do not, go to my GitHub account. Okay, go to my GitHub repository, and in repository go to Mod.js YouTube. I do not have it yet, but go to packages. That's how you will basically copy paste or whatever you want to do. Write it on your own, whatever you want to do. Go to components, and I do not have the container over here yet because I have not pushed it to GitHub yet, but you'll just open up the container and then open up the folder and then just copy and paste. Okay, just so that you have that component, and also for all the tests. Okay, so if you do not have the spec layout spec, go and do that, and once I push the container code to GitHub, you can do that. Okay, and by the time you are watching this, it should already be in GitHub, but I do not have it there yet. Okay, so let's close that container. Let's come to box. Okay, box, let's create a new file called box.spec.tsx. that's a test file. Let's also create box.tsx file. Okay, and this will be a super simple component, but this box component will be used throughout almost or most of the components that we'll write in the future. Okay, so that's why this component is important. All the box component does is it renders a div. Okay, so forward ref from React. Let's get rid of that. And import styled from styled components. Also import with system props hierarchy component. Okay, and let's correct that. Mod.js YouTube. Let me not forget my correct scope name. Slash, that's from utils. Let's correct that. Forward ref, and let's define a box interface. So mod box props is equals or extends, not equals to, extends react dot html attributes. This will be HTML development. Okay, this is from types React package that we installed in when we set up this development environment. Go and watch that. Okay, go and watch that video. Children will be react dot react node. Okay, and let's not forget ref react dot ref HTML element. That's the only properties that the box component takes. This is just a super simple component, but why we are doing this is I will explain that in just a little bit. So mod box is equals to style.div mod box props. This won't have any styles. Okay, but the reason we want to write this kind of components is because we have this with system props higher order component that provides a lot of CSS properties. So whenever we are using this box component to build other components, we can directly write these styles within the box component itself. Okay, we can directly specify the props. Okay, so let's const let's define the container. Const box is equals to, this will take children and any other props or HTML attributes that the user want to supply. Specify the type for it, that is mod box props. Put a comma there. Let's also do it for ref, react.ref HTML element. And let's return that mod box that we defined above. Okay, so mod box takes in any props that the user want to supply, any valid HTML attributes, right? Ref. Let's also provide data test is equals to box, and let's render children. Okay, and let's export this box component. Export default box, that should be children. Okay, and let's wrap this box with system props hierarchy component, and also let's wrap this with forward ref. Okay, so that's for the box. The test for this is going to be just like the layouts test. So let's copy, and not layout spec. Okay, so let's copy this, okay, and paste it in the box spec, and just rename the, instead of layout, we'll just rename it to box. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll be right back. So that is the spec file for the box. Okay, there's nothing much going on here. We already wrote all these tests. All we're doing is re-rendering the box component in this first test case, and we are checking that the box should exist. Okay, and for the props, we already did this in layout and typography component. Okay, go and watch that if you have not watched it. But these are all the tests. I do not want to repeat myself here. I'm just going to copy and paste things that I already have, because I do not want to sit here and write all this the same test cases again. Okay, so let's save that, and let's open up Cypress and see that the box component is working. Okay, npm run test core. There's already a box component there. Refresh the page. You can see that everything is working perfect. Okay, there's no errors, nothing. So that's for the box component. So what I'm going to do next is, there are other foundational components just like this, exactly like this box component, not much difference. Okay, just the name of the component is different, and maybe just some props might be different that we already did in the container component. So I'm going to write all those components, all those very basic foundational components, and I'm going to show what I did. Okay, so I'll be right back. So I am back after making some changes. I created some new components. Okay, these are exactly as box component. Okay, and all these other components, and also the test file is also more likely the same as box component. Okay, so let's look at some of the components that I built in the background here instead of repeating myself on the video. The first one is article component, not much difference. Okay, the same as box component, just the component name is different. Okay, and I will have this code posted on GitHub so that you can go and download the file or copy and paste, or create a folder, create a file on your computer, and then just copy and paste this component so that you have it in your project. Okay, so that's for the article. Okay, not much difference. Aside component is also not much difference. This will be finally be used inside navigation component. Okay, this aside component, that's why these are some of the foundational components that we are building here. Okay, for field set, same as box component, but there is some styles added to it, such as border none and padding 0. This will be used in form component that we will build. Same with footer component. Not much difference, just the background color is being set, okay, depending on the theme that the user is at. And for the spec file, same as box component, okay, because this background color does not really need to be tested, okay, but all the other tests should be there. So let me close some of this. So for footer, for form, again, not much going on, same as the box component, just the margin and padding is added. This form component we will make this a little more, we'll add some more functionalities to this, but for now this is okay for the form component, okay. For the grid, okay, this is a little different than the box component. The children and ref is the same, but grid also takes a columns props, okay. If the user specifies the columns to be 1, then we are adding this styles here, repeat 1 fraction, repeat 2 fraction. If the column is 3, that. If the columns is 4, then we apply that. If the column is 5, then we apply that styles, and so on. And also for max with 768 pixels, instead of displaying grid, we are displaying it as block in a small device, okay, in a small screen. And for the test for this is also a little different, not complex at all, okay. Again, I have this code on GitHub. Go and look at the GitHub repository so that you can find the source code, okay. So the test file for this grid component is, because we are rendering 6 different variants of grid here, so that's why we need to check for it. So render grid with 1 column, we just render the grid, okay, column 1, and then we just check for the styles, okay. These are very, very simple things, very basic, okay, not as complicated, very basic things, okay, for all these test files. So for these test cases, so grid column 4, 5, and grid column 6, again the same thing, test the styles, okay. And this one, we did it for just like the container component that we built previously. It's the same, and all the extra other tests, these are same as the box components, okay. So props, global styles, and all that. So that's the grid component. We will be using this in order to build some other components. Same with the header component, nothing much going on, just the margin and padding is added for the, and this should render a header element, okay, HTML header element. Same thing with list, a little different. Children and ref is the same, but the list style, user can supply the list style to be square, inside, or none. And these are just some CSS here. If the list style supplied by the user is square, then list style is square. If it's inside, inside. If it's none, then it's none. And we also add some styles to that, okay, like font family, color, and font size. That's the list component. The spec file is a little different for these two as compared to box components. So go and look at the YouTube. Go and look at the repository for this project. Okay. Same thing with the main component. Just some extra styles there. Nothing much going on. Same thing with the nav component. Just some extra styles. Nothing much going on. Okay. Same thing as the box. For ordered list, just some styles, okay, and we are specifying padding left based on indent property that is applied by the user. If props.indent is set to true, then we apply padding left of 48 pixels, else padding left of 0 pixels, okay. Everything else should be the same as the box component. For the spec file for this ordered list, we do need to check everything here, especially for the indent. We want to check if the indent is applied or not, okay. Go and look at the GitHub repository, okay, because I do not want to sit here and repeat myself. For section, same thing as box component, just some added styles there, margin, padding, and display property. For separator component, this is just renders a horizontal line. Okay, this is more like, do I have that open here? 3000. So this HR, I'm not sure if I have it. Okay, so if I go to settings here, this border that you see, this is not actually a, well, yeah, it is a border. But yeah, that HR, the separator component, will basically render a line here just like this, okay, just like this border. But it is a separator, okay. So let me go back to code here. That's the separator component, nothing much going on there. For ordered list, same as the for unordered list is the same as the ordered list like before. Okay, supply the indent prop. User can supply the indent value to be true or false. If it is true, then apply padding left of 48 pixels, else padding left of 0 pixels. Okay, so that is all the foundational components. And for the spec file, go and look at the GitHub, the source code, okay, on GitHub. But these were some of the foundational components that will be used in our other components. Mainly this box component will be used almost in all the major components that we build. The box component will be used, okay, and this aside component will mainly be used in side navigation. So like this is the side navigation that you see on the left here. This is the side navigation again that you see on the right here. So this aside component will be used in the side navigation. Okay, field set, this will be used in form. Container will be used throughout our app and also in some of the components. Okay, and same thing with that, but all these components will be used in other components that we built. So that was it for this video. In the next video, we are going to finally talk about ways to create this, all these icons that you see here. So there's a menu icon, there's this GitHub icon, there's this search icon, there's this settings icon, there's this write Chevron icon. Okay, and if I go to the homepage here, there is this React icon. Okay, and what else? There's this new tab icon, there's this square icon. Okay, there's this right arrow icon, left arrow icon. So in the next video, we are going to see how to build some of these icons component and the ways we can do this. So I will see you in the next one. See ya.